This is the latest watch addition to my collection, the Omega Speedmaster Reduced 3513.50. Here I go through the boxes, the operating manual, and the card. Surprisingly, the card wasn't dated. It just had the reference number and the serial number on it. Here's the card holder. It's super beat up. You can see the crackling patterns on it. And then surprisingly, on the middle section here, it doesn't have any of the patterns on it. So I wonder if that got wiped off or if that just didn't age the same way. Who knows? And then on the back side here, you can see the same crackle pattern. It's very aged. The kit as a whole is in great shape, I think, especially this box. Given how old and falling apart it looks on the outside with all the paint chipping off, it has a very nice flip action, you can see here. It has a very solid spring system, I feel like here, making it very sturdy. Let's just say it feels better than the Lenovo ThinkPad that I have. And here is the watch itself. This is the Omega Speedmaster Reduced. It is the smaller size, 39mm diameter by 14mm depth. Let's put this stuff away first. So here's the watch. I really like this watch because of the metal bezel it has compared to the black bezel, the black aluminum bezel that other Speedmaster have. Something that stood out to me was its case profile. It has a very nice and nuanced case profile where the top bezel part stands out from the rest of the case, and the actual case itself have polishing around the case flank and brushing on the actual case flank itself. And then you have the chronograph pushers and the crown. This side of the case is very interesting compared to the other side, but I feel like at 14mm deep, it doesn't stand out too much because of the way that the case is structured. One thing to know about this Speedmaster, or I think any Speedmaster in particular, is that the side of the case with the pushers and the crown on it is thicker than the side without. If you can see on the close-up here, you can see that there's more metal on the side with the pushers, whereas the side that has no pushers looks a lot skinnier. I initially thought this was the fault of whoever polished this watch last. I don't think they sent it to an Omega official like RSE or equivalent. I can't think of the word right now, but yeah, I thought it was because how they polished it, but I looked up a few pictures of other examples of the 3513.50 online, as well as the current line of Speedmasters, and it seems like that's just how they make these watches. The pusher side has more metal than the other side. That does bug me a little bit, especially if I have on a watch stand. But, you know, maybe it would be like the Black Bay 36, where the little things stop bothering you as much. For that watch's case, it would be how there's like a little tube where the crown is. I stopped noticing that a few weeks into wearing the watch, and it never stood out to me again. So hopefully this will be the same case with the Speedmaster Reduced. With this watch, I'm very happy that the bracelet does taper. I think all watches on a bracelet, I'm a big bracelet guy. Like, I like all of my watches on bracelets. And it really bugs me when bracelets don't taper. One of the most memorable recent examples would be the Grand Seiko line, the white birch, and all the other cool blue dials that they've released. None of the bracelets taper, and it's just very odd how they don't do that at the price point. The watch wear is great. I think it's no complaints to it. I mean, 42mm might be a bit too big for me. I did try one on in the Omega boutique here in downtown Vancouver, and I really think that 39mm is the one that I would go for. However, unfortunately, I think the current line of Omega Speedmasters, the brand new ones, they have odd dial colors. None of them are really as traditional and classic as this 3513. I don't know why they don't make them anymore. Maybe it's to distinguish between the professional line and the reduced line. I'm not too sure. This dial plays with the light very well. Because of the center of the dial being this really even brushed well, polished. It's like a glazed flat surface, and then the outside of that is this very fine-grained line pattern. Combined with the subdials, which is also this line pattern, it plays with the light very well. And then you have the bezel itself, which has the tachymeter, which I have no idea how to use. I'm sure most people don't either. The inner of that and the outside areas of that, I don't know how to explain it. Let me see if I can throw a close-up here. The whole package just shines really well in the light, in outdoor lightings and indoor lightings. Given the chronograph functionality is on a cheaper watch, I don't really have a complaint with how stiff the pusher sometimes is. Everything functions perfectly. When you reset the chronograph hand, when it snaps back to the original position, there's not a lot of backplay. You know, with some chronograph watches, the second hand like to sway a lot when you go back to the original position. That doesn't happen with this watch. When it comes to setting the time, it is a very easy watch to set the time for. However, when you're pulling out the crown, it is a bit tricky because for me, when I yank it, it goes into the date position first, and then I have to try extra hard to get it into the time position. But when you are operating both the date and the time, the date has this very smooth click to it, and the time just goes. There's no kind of delay or like an empty space. You know that feeling when you're setting the time, you have to kind of wind it just a little bit before it really clicks into gear. You don't get that feeling here. It's a very solid feeling for winding the or for setting the time. As far as winding the watch goes, this has probably one of the worst winding movements that I've felt. It doesn't even feel like sandpaper. It feels like nails on chalkboard kind of thing. So I really don't suggest winding this. I don't know if it damages the movement. Maybe it doesn't damage the movement, it just feels like that. But I'm definitely more of a, I like to shuffle it. Do the Seiko shuffle on this watch instead of winding it through the crown. The watch wear is very balanced on the wrist. You can see here on my 6 1/4 inch wrist. I think it fits perfectly. The 42 millimeters, as I said, might come off a bit big, but no complaints here. I think it's a perfect fit for me. And that's it for my review of the Omega Speedmaster Reduced 3513.50. I think it's a great entry-level watch, or it's a great watch to have in your collection if you're missing a chronograph. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Leave any comments down below. Do you have this watch in your collection? Do you have a Speedmaster in your collection? And I look forward to seeing you in the next video.